in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will. Let's do one more time. How can I serve today? Oh, how can I serve today? Oh, Lord, speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Yeah. Thank you. All right. We got a new band playing today. I'll introduce them in a minute. But first, let's do our We Come Together song. If you want to stand up and clap along and sing with us, that'd be great. Ready? We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. And speaking of coming together, it's a great time to say hi to your neighbors. You can run around and greet people, see how they are today. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome, welcome, and thank you, Kath. And I heard you say you'll introduce the band? Yes, please.
So I'm just so happy to introduce to you a couple of folks. Well, you know, we have Zoe, who was here last week playing bass. So Zoe is back with us this week, which is wonderful. And also Sydney Erickson is on piano today. Really happy to welcome her, give her a lovely Unity welcome. And then, of course, Steady Nick, right? He's with us. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. It's great to have this wonderful music and a way to get us started and involved in our morning. And so I'm here to welcome you. I'm Shireen Hill. And if you are new to Unity, we do have Marietta at the welcome desk. And she has some packets to let you know about a little bit about who we are. So stop by there after the service. Those who are in the virtual sanctuary, welcome, welcome. I kind of see you through a camera. And I wanted to let you know, if you are new to Unity, you can go to unitydenver.org, and there is a tab on our new website that you can fill out some information as well. You can sign up for our newsletter. It would be a good idea to make sure you're signed up for the newsletter to keep apprised of what's happening during February. We actually are going to put a pause on our live streaming for February while we reassess what that looks like and resources to do that. So those in online, get the newsletter so you can keep abreast of what we're doing there. It's great to be here. So I have just a few announcements that I would like to share with you before the reading. The first is that on a monthly basis, our spiritually motivated social engagement team, which is SMSE, and it's really a social justice team, we actually sponsor what's called a dinner and dialogue. Good. It's not up here, so I want to make sure you're seeing what I'm talking about. We sponsor a dinner and dialogue every month, and it's an opportunity to come together in kind of a fellowship. We do share a meal, but it's also a space where non-judgmental and a safe space where we could be authentic, hear and learn about new topics related to social justice. For this 6 months of the first part of this year, we are discussing discussing the Native American experience, the indigenous experience in America. And so I invite you to be a part of that. Upcoming months, we will have guest speakers. This month, we are studying some local topics and having some dialogue. The next thing is our potluck. Every other month on the second Sunday, wow, we have a lot going on here. The second Sunday of every other month, we have a potluck. And so I'm inviting you to go online to our new site. It's still at unitydenver.org. But go there, and we have a sign up there online where you can just let us know what to expect for the dishes that you're bringing, because we do have a crew that tries to help fill in. But it's just an opportunity to get together, and it's a little extra special when you're having a gathering around food, right? The last thing that I will do for announcements is to share with you the Living a Purposeful Life workshop. This is one that I have actually designed as a certified positive psychology coach and Gallup Strengths coach. And I really invite you to consider coming and learn a little bit about what it means to live purposefully. Because I do believe, and I've said this before, we come here on purpose for a purpose. And this is just a workshop to help re-engage us with our innate strengths and talents and gifts we've been given to serve out that purpose. So it's next Saturday. Today is really the deadline for signing up, because there is an online assessment that you take through Gallup organization. So see me if you will need a little extended time, but I would love to see all of you here at that workshop. The last thing I have is a reading for this week. It is from the book, Birthing a Greater Reality. By the way, there are more in the bookstore. They flew off the shelves last Sunday, and so we have restored the inventory. So feel free to stop in and get the book if you would like to read along over the next few weeks with this topic. But it comes, the reading today comes from page 22, and it's really talking about identity. Human beings will go to almost any length to preserve their identity. To lose it feels like death, or worse. Some human beings have also gone to incredible lengths to transcend their identity. The history of the human race is a fascinating drama depicting how we have played out these conflicting drives. The conflict is now being felt more poignantly than ever before. The tension between these two powerful forces is virtually palpable in our world today. Caught between the beasts and the angels, torn between safety, comfort, and security, and the indomitable cry within that demands that we come up higher. This tension is part of a crisis that is evoking us to birth a greater reality. By deepening our understanding of both of these forces, the drive to maintain our present identity and the drive to evolve beyond it, we will be in a better position to facilitate this birth. So by deepening our understanding of those. The degree of conflict and suffering that we experience in this birthing process is a function of our understanding or lack of it, and our willingness to consciously embrace this evolutionary transformation. To the degree that we are unconscious, our evolution occurs with fits and starts, and with much conflict and suffering. We will evolve. That is a given. Whether that evolution occurs through a cataclysmic Armageddon experience, that doesn't sound fun, or from a natural cosmic childbirth, is largely up to us. And that is our reading for today.
Thank you, Shireen. Just a little light reading for you. Good morning, everyone. I see so many new faces on this chilly morning, so thank you, faces that I recognize and new faces, for coming out this morning. Anytime I hear this weather, we're so spoiled, right? We usually have cold for 2 days, and then we're back to the sun. So those of you joining us online, welcome as well. If I haven't met you, I'm Trish Morris, and I serve here as the spiritual leader. And as Shireen mentioned, we'll be talking about this this invitation to conscious evolution, which has really, I will tell you, I started reading the book and thought, oh, this is great. Started. And then I announced we were going to do this series, and then I kept reading it, and it was like, oh, this is heavy. This is dense. How am I going to do this? But I'm really excited. I think it really speaks to what I've been trying to speak to for the better part of a year, and I think what many of us are feeling. And in that reading, you heard a glimpse of it, that we are feeling, and this is true historically, this tension between self-preservation and self-transcendence. And you can hear right there, it's a paradox, right? You can't preserve something that you're trying to grow beyond. So that is the conversation that we'll be looking at today more deeply. So buckle up, buttercups. It's going to be fun. But before we do that, I just want to take a moment to get us centered, get us, all that it took to get here, all that awaits you, so we have an opportunity to just settle in. And before I forget, we do that each Sunday by reciting our creed together that just centers us in what we're all about here, right? From a big perspective, that what we are teaching and what we are growing and what we are growing into is really said nicely in this statement. So I just invite you to take a deep breath and say these words with me and feel the power of these words. Our God is love. Our race is human. Our faith is oneness. And so just allow yourself to fully arrive here. Feel the chair supporting you. Take a deep breath. As I play the singing bowl that is tuned to our heart chakra, it just opens up our heart as we become fully present in this time and space.
Surely, surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
So just take a breath into the presence of love that is in this place. And this place certainly is a special place, for it has held the conscious evolution of people seeking to grow into the truth that they are divine love in expression for many, many years. And you are all part of that lineage. And so the invitation really is to breathe into your heart space, to recognize that love abides within you, that you are in this very moment, regardless of how you feel or identify with it, the truth of you is that you are an expression of divine love. Expressing individually as the person that you are. And behind that, we are connected because we are all expressions of that one source, that one life, that one love. And so together, as we come to a place and a space where we are aware of that, we can feel that, and we can rest in that, and we can contribute to that. So just breathe into your own heart and recognize the depth of that truth. Right here, right now, right as I am an expression of divine love, divine life. And feel the power that that affords you, and the opportunity and the guidance and the awareness that that opens up. You don't have to figure it all out in your own mind. You have access to divine life and wisdom and love. And so we are all at different places in that experience and in that knowing. So we come together to hold that process up, to hold that knowing, and to hold that growing. And then we, as much as we are able to, we push it out, sort of seeing our love, our awareness, and the truth of who we are resonating out to those around us. Particularly anyone in our own life that needs that love, that needs that life. We can hold them in this awareness. And we see that truth for them too, no matter what they're experiencing. They too are expressions of divine life and love. And we can hold that for each other until we know it for ourselves. So breathing into that connection, we just make room for this morning, for this lesson, for this connection, for this music, for this whole experience, to be grounded in the love that we are, and the love that is seeking to express as us. And for our ability to know this and to grow into this and to claim this more every day, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take it in good faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. Trust my instinct and let Spirit be my guide, as I vow to live my life that's real and true and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take it in my faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks, blocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. For now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret, and it held me down. So I'll surrender to my greatest, highest good, and I'll release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take, I'm walking in my faith, and life is kinder every moment, every day. And I am loving it. I'm loving every moment. I'm loving every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Our hesitancy was just that you had us in a space. It's like, do we clap? Thank you for sharing that. We didn't officially welcome Kath Robinson to the stage. She's been helping from the back. So welcome as our featured musician today. Yeah, and Kath gave you a preview as to where we're headed. Surrender. Okay, you like surrender? It's hard. That's all I'm saying. Okay, all right, we're going to start off serious. That's good. I'll just preface this by saying what you might think of had a real late night partying it up. What happened was I had a 13-year-old sleepover at my house. 5 13-year-old girls. They were fine. It was just I needed to get to sleep by 9:30. They don't do that. But that was after we did an introduction to self-defense martial arts. That was fun. I almost broke my toe and was told I was doing jazz hands instead of punching. That's fine. I can take that. And then we did 2 hours of, wait for it, Nick, you ready? Roller skating. I roller skated and I didn't fall. All right, so I'm just letting you know I'm mildly exhausted. So, yeah, that was fun. That was a blast from the past. How many of you grew up roller skating? Yeah, it's like, it's not as easy when you're older because you realize what could happen when you fall, and you've got further to fall, and it's way harder to get up. So this has a little bit to do with my own personal evolution. We are continuing on this series that Shireen read for you this morning, and that I gave you the indication that it's really dense, but I'm really hooked, and I think it offers us a really great, some great insight into navigating what we're feeling, and what we're feeling, and so many of us have not really even known how to articulate it, but what we're being called into, what we're being invited into, and what is trying to move through us. And it will take us being aware of it, and it will take us being aware of what the song said this morning, I'm not going to remember it, but that what our habits and our regrets is really what we tend to be reliving, rather than what's possible, right? When we recognize the truth of who we are and what we're capable of. And there are mechanisms in our physicality, in our mental capacity in particular, that trip us up. And that's what this work is really inviting us into, is to recognize that, to be courageous enough to say, there is something in my mind that is, while it has gotten me where I am, also keeps me limited, because it's constantly keeping me safe and constantly having, making you something you may or may not be, and a threat and that sort of thing. So that is totally off script. So let me get on script. Ready? I'm going to remind us of what we did last week, just very briefly. We had the introduction to this series, which the lens through which Robert Brummett talks about what we are waking up to is that we are waking up to realize that we are the one. We are each individual expressions of the one, God, the source of all life, that has involved itself in us as a way to know itself better. And because of our limited ability to think outside of time and space, we are just in this circle of not recognizing the true capacity of this, that within us there is the presence and the power of the divine itself. So he talks about it in this language. Each one of us is the one, the divine, dreaming that she is an individual personality. He used she, I didn't. The purpose of life is to awaken from that dream. The process of this awakening is called evolution. We now find ourselves at a crucial juncture in that process. Evolution is requiring itself to become conscious. It now requires our consent and active involvement. Our development has become dangerously one-sided, and we talked about this a little bit last week. We have failed to parallel our external development with our growth of our self-development, our self-awareness. So we've done all these magical, wonderful, amazing things. We can go to the moon. We can prolong life with wonderful medical advancements, this sort of thing. And yet, most of us aren't even aware of sort of all the things that are happening in us that trigger us. Even with the people we love the most, they're the ones that are here to help us through that. I know, it's hard to believe sometimes. Right? It's hard. So that's what he's calling, that's what he's giving us a roadmap to consider. Waking up has become an evolutionary necessity, yet something is keeping us asleep, and that's what we're going to dive into today. So today I'll give you a little roadmap so that you can hold me accountable when I go astray. Tell me to get back to my notes. To consider the true purpose of evolution and the need for our involvement. And to consider then our status in that evolution as the dominant species, what's got us there, and what has gotten us there is also what limits us from taking our next step in evolution. But we're waking up to that. And consider this a spiritual issue. He talks about this as a spiritual crisis because we don't know who we are. We think we are our thoughts. We think we are our identities. That's just how we've navigated this experience. It's been necessary. And there is that within us that doesn't know anything about that. That is the full expression of divine life, divine love, divine energy, trying to live through us. And we have to wake up to that. But the thing we use the most can't conceive of it and freaks out when you start doing things that it can't conceive of. Anybody know that experience? And literally, I can tell you that I've had crippling anxiety when I've pushed into and beyond who I thought I was, or when that got threatened. It is painful. It is scary. I needed help. And what I want to recognize, I'm off my notes. It's fine, we're going to go with it. is that living in this modern world with all of our developments also it's stressful. There's so much more to manage. And who is showing us this the most? Who is the most anxious amongst us? Our children. And they are the ones saying, in a roundabout way, I can't count on this identity. You want me to be this, I've got to be this or that or this or that. And I'm telling you, I can't survive this by these identities, these labels, right? And I know. And then what happens? It pushes into our identity. Wait a minute, if you're not a he or a she, then whoa. How come I know I am? And what does that mean? And I know that's a hard one for some people. I get it. But that's what gets triggered. And we know when we are in our grounded self, when you all are here for a reason, that you know there's more of you, you know that there's a presence and a power working in and through all of this, there's a purpose and you want to know it. That's what you're doing here. You want to be a part of it, whether you know it or not. Maybe you're just here for the coffee, don't tell me. Shoot, I shouldn't say things like that because then I get out of the loop. What was I saying? Beyond ourselves, thank you. Yes, when we are connected with that, we know, I don't want people to suffer because of what bathroom they need to use. I don't want people to suffer because of the color of their skin. I don't want people to suffer because they can't afford a house. And yet, in practicality, all of that also pushes into our identity. We've really collectively agreed to all of that. And it's okay. The point is to recognize the limit of this identity and how it feels so threatened and how it just undermines our ability to stay rational, to stay connected. And we know, and I should have looked this up before, but it wasn't in my notes. Kirsten can help me. The newest part of our brain is, the prefrontal cortex, which has been an evolutionary process where we do relate empathetically and compassionately. And yet, the primal part of us still gets triggered. So, the answer is not to get rid of any of it, it's all part of it, but to begin to see that identity as transparent, to begin to see through it. That is not all that I am, and I know that. Spend some time, what is it that I am? Robert Brummett says, we are not a thing, we are a process. And we are as we starts with a T. Transition or transform. We are participating in evolution. Thank you. Sounds like. Got it? You're on. So that is the call. That is the call that we feel, that is shared by all of us, right? We are all in some way, whether it's our kids or our spouse or our job, we want to be a better version of ourselves. We want to clean up the stuff that gets in the way that when we act in ways that we know we don't want to act. And yet, there it is, trigger. That's the instinct. So this lesson is about learning to recognize the limit of our minds, and you can expect that as soon as you do that, you're going to feel some discomfort. It's going to say, because it's trying to keep us protected. All right, back to the notes. Good luck with that. Where am I, you say? So, the main thing is to recognize. So when you hear evolution, what do you think of? Darwin, there it is, thank you. Survival of the fittest, right? So do I. And that is a strategy, but it's not the purpose. right? So survival of the fittest, just whoever can outfight and outlive and outgrow gets to have the cake and eat it too, gets to have the world. What? That's not a purpose, that's a strategy, right? That made me think of something that I thought was going to be really brilliant. You got to remember it in order for that to happen. So what is the purpose then? And this is where our spiritual understanding kicks in. Robert Brummett says that the purpose of evolution, as we understand it, now I'll break this down, but is for the absolute, the divine, to unfold itself within the relative universe. Human history is the story of the absolute, the divine, unfolding through the consciousness of humanity. To understand evolution, we must understand involution, the process by which spirit involves itself in its creation. Spirit loses itself in its creation so it can find itself through evolution. Evolution and transformation are different profiles of the same process, separated only by the perspective of time. Both are descriptions of the one awakening from the dream. So the purpose of evolution is not just to survive, but is to become aware of the truth that is trying to live through us as spiritual beings. And doing this requires us to see the limits of our dominant survival strategy. We are the dominant species, he says, for one reason, which is that our biological adaptation was usurped by the adaptive capacity of our evolving brain. So looking at our, really, how long would we survive in the wild? We have some tools, some great tools we've created to protect ourselves, but like he says, without grocery stores and Starbucks, we're toast. I mean, that's the way we've created, right? We've got all of these comforts that we've created and securities and protections, but if you go solely on survival of the fittest, you can see that we're lacking in some ways. All right, that's not about my fitness. Who's laughing over here? It's because roller skating tired me out. So rather than adapting to the natural world solely through biological evolution, we have evolved a brain that gives us the ability to create internal representations of the outer world, and we have developed the ability to manipulate our inner world in very creative ways. Would you agree? All sorts of stuff can go on in our minds. Does it happen out here sometimes? Is it even relative to what's happening out here? Rarely. It's all the story making and all the remembering and all the projecting. Our internal virtual reality is more adaptable to change than any physical body. We can change our internal maps and strategies much more quickly than it takes an animal to evolve biologically. With this brain and its ability to create virtual realities, we have developed speech and written communication that allow us to pass these survival strategies on to subsequent generations, much faster than it is possible to do purely via biology, right? We can teach our children these strategies, some of which we're seeing aren't working. They've met their lifetime expectancy. None of this is inherently problematic. Our survival strategy is an evolutionary stroke of genius. The problem is that the human mind, an evolutionary tool designed to help us survive, is no longer our servant but our master. We have confused the survival strategy, using this adaptive power of our mind to manipulate and dominate our internal and external world in order to survive, with who we are, which also contains spirit and truth and divine intelligence. That's who we are. And that's the leap we're being invited to not just say we know. Remember a few weeks ago we talked about faith as our capacity to perceive and to shape substance, to shape energy. Can we perceive that there is that within us that is of spirit? How do we act that way? How do we live that way? And all of this sort of egoic stuff begins to get threatened right away. You can expect it. And be with it. Be with it. Don't deny it. And I think that's what I've been hearing in random ways. People are saying, I don't want to act like that anymore, or I didn't even realize this was happening. Like all of this sort of systemic stuff. Like, how did I not know this? Or how did I not? It's easier not to know. And our mind, because anytime that comes up, it pushes into what we think we know and how things are. And so we don't want to, it's uncomfortable. And that whole defense mechanism gets triggered. It's not you're a bad person, we're a bad people. It's just designed to protect us from knowing anything that threatens it. You see? It's really a catch-22. All right, so here's what he says about the ego. We are caught in the perpetual cycle of self-protection and self-preservation, specifically through the ego structure, which has become the thing we think we are. He describes it like this. At an early age, we create internal maps to support our survival. The foundation of these maps is the map called me, the ego. And who is this me really? There is no answer in words, but the mind needs to know, so it identifies self in contrast to the external world. Who I am is not that. Yes, I'm this. No, I'm not that. And culturally, familiarly, we get messages about who we are, right? Ancient wisdom, spiritual wisdom, says that we exist in a realm beyond time and space, but mind can function only within time and space. So there's this black hole in ego's ability to know itself. The ego continually seeks to avoid this experience of emptiness by creating a false sense of self. So, and we know that we know something. We know something else. And it can be freaky to realize that because it's not how we go about living every day, right? But we know there's something more of us and of this. And as soon as we step towards that, our ego says, no, panic. Not so, and starts. To be free of the false self, we need to see how it continuously entraps us. The ego is not an object. This is what your song spoke to. The ego is not an object. It is a pattern of habituated thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's all it is. When we awaken to our true nature, the ego, the personality, does not cease to exist, but it becomes more transparent. And then we can begin to see the space between us and it more and more, and spend some time in there, connecting. That's what we try to do here with this fuller truth that we are. And here's what really speaks to, I think, what we're seeing and what we're experiencing. Well, I've got to read it. Ready? It's two things. Hang on a minute. In humanity's early days, we were identified with the body. But more recently, we have become identified primarily with the mind. Because we do not know who we are, we have identified with our survival strategies. If we were to let go of this habituated identification, we would feel like a turtle without its shell, or a tiger without its teeth or claws. Our primary survival tool would disappear. This is frightening. How do we act when we're frightened? Fight or flight? Yeah. When we're frightened, we are in our instinctual defense mode. Do you see any of that happening in our world right now? Now, it helps to explain it, like when we're like, why do we feel like we're going backwards? Why are people losing their minds? Why are they shooting each other? This is why. And listen, we are in here kind of with some awareness of it. And even I say the stupidest things sometimes when I'm triggered. So you magnify that with people who haven't had the time or the support or the resources to recognize this is running them, and collectively their identity is being threatened. This is what we get. So this is what he says. The inclination to cling to an old strategy is a universal tendency. When animals, including humans, are frightened or traumatized, they typically will regress to an earlier form of behavior. When afraid, we cling to that which gives us a sense of security. We typically revert to an old way of being in an attempt to feel safe rather than to face the raw terror of the unknown. This propensity exists within groups of people as well. When threatened, families, organizations, and nations will hold on to what seems to be tried and true, and will have little inclination to experiment with new ways of being. In times of crisis, patriotism, nationalism, and the old values typically stage a comeback. That which we call dysfunctional behavior is the result of unconsciously clinging to an outmoded way of behaving and relating to others. To live without these maps to guide us, to interpret our reality, and to make sense of our life experiences can be terrifying. So this is the good news and the bad news. There's a reason, and it's very instinctual. And what we need is to be aware of it. We start doing that in our own lives, in our own relationships, in our own places of work, to begin to see what trips us up and how we react to the people that we're closest with. Then we can understand how, without some awareness, this is happening on a larger scale. Does that make sense? You're like, what's the answer, aren't you? Yeah, that's going to take some work. So, the antidote really, which we talk about often, is to recognize that the spiritual misidentification, to claim our true identity as spiritual beings. As a species, he says, we have not yet tapped into and developed our true spiritual nature, and thus we have identified with our survival strategy. But our current survival strategy is not able to take us to the next phase of our evolution. We need to replace it with a greater reality. Yet we cling to that which is not working, thinking it is what we are. We have believed our thoughts to be reality. Did anyone, who remembers the first time that someone told you, don't believe everything you think? You're not your thoughts. I mean, just like, well, I know that, but it feels like I might be. They're really great thoughts. Have you ever heard them? Let me tell you all about them. It's, that is an awakening in and of itself. So I'll end with this, and then we'll take a little time with meditation. He says that the thing is, we just need to realize we're attempting to use this wonderful tool of our mind for purposes beyond which it has evolved. So we need to wake up to that and connect and find a newer reality, a next way to be a part of conscious evolution, to be a part of it, to wake up to it, to let it move through us. We're not a thing, we're a process. And it needs us. It won't happen if we're not participating. Something will happen, right? But it may or may not include us. We are a pivotal piece of this leap. So he says this, that deep down beneath our very everyday awareness, we know that we don't know. We feel it. We feel the limits of this mistaken identity. And there are two reasons that most of us are unwilling to acknowledge it. And just take a deep breath. Yeah. Facing this truth can result in considerable anxiety. And for most people, it is quite difficult to stay still and face the anxiety that arises. And because it's already there, when we stop distracting ourselves with physical and mental activity, it quickly arises into consciousness. And I started out by saying that our kiddos are feeling that. And we wonder why they won't get off their phones. And yet what they're watching on their phones is like, oh my God, no. That's just going to add to your anxiety, I can tell you right now. And what complicates this, and I want to say this, that anxiety, people experience anxiety from a lot of different sources, trauma being one of them. And to face this anxiety at all, to face crippling anxiety, you need support. You need help, because it's like takes you upside down. So I want to recognize that. I've had to get help. I know many people have. And yet, one thing that we can do collectively is to begin to talk about it with each other. To begin, and that's what I've been hearing, right? Just, wow, I don't know what's going on, but just being frank about it. The second complication, though, that keeps most of us from talking about it is the next layer of resistance. That we have a tacit collective agreement not to permit this anxiety to arise within us. In a polite society, we make sure that we do not have to come to grips with this. We have created a culture that contains innumerable distractions designed to avoid facing ourselves. It is designed to keep us asleep. And this is the crucial time that we are in, because more of us are sort of recognizing that. We don't know what to do, but we're recognizing something about that, and we're wanting to stay awake, to recognize our limits, its limits, to participate in a new opportunity, in a new reality. And so this series that I've gotten us into, though heavy, provides a map, and it starts with us. We have to be able and willing to look at not only what we know, but what we know, but we don't know we know, those unconscious biases. We don't even know they're there. And when you push into them, there it goes again. The trigger, the defense. It's just the mechanism. So it's a courageous journey that we are embarking on. We'll see how many of you are back next week. That'll be a good indication. So the invitation is to begin to make your way wherever you are in what I've said, right? Whatever piece of awareness you have, to begin to spend some time with that, to begin to notice the ways in which your mind has you act and react in ways that you would like to transcend, and recognize that there is that of you that really panics when you push into that. And it's all part of it. You're not a thing, you're a process. I'm included in that. And within us is this divine wisdom and this divine presence that can handle that can hold all of this. In fact, if you follow this logic, it has involved itself in us in order to do this. So that is our strength. That is what we can lean into. It's not going to happen through our literal logical mind. We can use that in ways and notice its limits and work on building a bridge to this part of our consciousness that is waiting to be seen, waiting to be known, waiting to be counted on, waiting as we use our power of faith to be brought into reality. And so that's the invitation. So let's take a time of meditation before it's noon, to just take a breath, to let all the words and the concepts and the ideas that I've thrown at you settle a minute and see sort of where they land in you. So we'll sing into this time. I invite you to just take a breath, to invite your physical body to relax. Okay.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do.
Breathe into that place within us that connects with the one, God, the divine, the universe, however you know that. Connect with that place within you that knows the more of you. And in that place and from that place, we just contemplate and we acknowledge that there is a motivation and an understanding within us, beyond our language, beyond our thoughts, that is seeking and willing and wanting to evolve. It's part of the process. It's in all of us. To grow, to expand, not just survive, but to flourish and to connect with that happening in all of creation, to be a part of what it will take. And we start by being willing to do what it will take for ourselves in our own lives, in our own awareness, in our own hearts. But just spend a moment recognizing and claiming that there is that within you that is calling you. Specifically you. It speaks to you in ways that you hear. Only you can hear. And sometimes there's pain and disappointment that we've heard it before, but we've not done anything. It's okay. Keep listening. Keep engaging. Some of us can't hear it. It's okay, it's there. You can feel it. And those of us in this room today, on whatever level, we are connected in knowing that something is moving in and through each one of us, in and through this community, in and through our world. We're waking up to that. And we can greet our inevitable fear with the power of love that seeks to harmonize all things together for good. We can trust that. And so we just open up to that moving in and through and as us this day, moving forward, committed to checking in, to tuning in, to making an effort to remember that we are the one waking up. And the invitation is, are we willing? Are we willing to perhaps let go of who we've thought we were? This is what the Apostle Paul meant when he said we have to die daily in order to live in Christ. We have to let go of our tension and our attention on our identity in order to know the truth of us. So we just start with, am I willing? And if I'm not, I can spend some time to figure out why. And if I am, I can begin the practice of surrendering to that. And trust that what you need will emerge, will be brought into your awareness, onto your path. And for this, for our ability to know it, to grow into it, we are grateful. So we move forward this week, open to how this Spirit, how this truth can move through us, use us in this world.
And God needs us to shine its light. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
So just invite you to bring your awareness back to this time and space, taking a breath. And just to follow up, Teilhard de Chardin spoke of this conscious evolution only being possible if humankind became a collective human organism, drawn together by what he called radial energy, by which he meant love. And so next week, Rachel Harrison will be with you talking about love and how it feeds into this process that we are a part of. She'll have Seth Larson with her. Some of you, I don't know if there's any of you here that remember Seth Larson from Something Underground, the band that we used to listen to in YOU. So just wanting to invite you to be here to enjoy them next week. And now is the time in our service where we give of our good in support of this ministry. We are so grateful for all that you give, and am really amazed when we think about all that we do here is completely funded by donation. So it's really important, and we are so grateful for all the ways that you give. I know many of you give electronically. Those of you who are watching online, there are ways on your screen that you can do that, as well as those of you in-house who might be here for the first time. You can log onto our website and donate that way or via our app. There are also baskets in the back for those of you with cash or check. You can leave that on your way out. However you are giving, I just invite us now to bless these gifts, knowing that what is given in love goes forward to do the work of love. So together, we'll bless our offering. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am thankful.
Thank you. If you want more love, give love. If you want more joy, give joy. If you want more peace, give peace. If you want more, give. If you want more, give. If you want more money, give money. If you want more time, give up your time. If you want more friends, be a friend. If you want more, you got to give. If you want more, you got to give. When you give, you receive. It's as simple as that. There's no effort, no question. It's just a simple fact. If you want to see a change, be that change. If you want to have more peace, be that peace. If you want more gratitude, give thanks. And if you want more, give. If you want more, you got to give. Yeah. That's Zoe on the bass. Thank you, Zoe. And Nick is on the drums, and that's Sydney Erickson on piano today. Yeah. When you give, you receive. Yeah. When you give, you receive. It's as simple as that. There's no effort, no struggle. It's just a simple fact. It's just a simple fact, yeah. If you want more love, you give love. If you want more joy, you got to give that joy. If you want more peace, give that peace. If you want more, you got to give. If you want more, you got to give. One more time. If you want more, you got to give.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. If you're standing, you can stay standing. If not, I invite you to stand up as we close with our prayer for protection. Again, thank you for being here. There are snacks and coffee and tea in the fellowship room, so help yourself and get to know someone new today. Or take a nap. I feel you, man. Thank you for being here. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. Amen.
Yeah, I hope you all sing with us on Love Can Move the World. Here we go. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the trees.